Welcome, everybody, to the big show. Today, we're going to talk about 10 reasons your customers leave you. We're going to get into Christian's childhood issues.
That's a lead in every week.
Yeah, and a big dilemma coming up with the coaching meeting here this week. That and so much more coming up on this edition of Service Drive Revolution. If you're listening to this, you're not going to understand what we're talking about. But if you're watching, you are going to be very aware of the fact that this is the first time we're filming in the library.
Dun da da da.
And Christian told his first joke in the library.
Can't repeat it, but it's
there was
good.
lots of snorts. Why
Yep.
can't I repeat it? I'm going to tell it. I'm going to pretend like I'm you, and I'm going to tell the joke.
Oh, okay.
Okay?
Yeah.
And it's all in the setup,
Right.
just to warn you.
So you work on your
Now,
setup?
You know the punchline, so don't give me a different just play along like you're.
This is just a role play. I totally get it.
So Christian, I'm trying to get in shape. I'm trying to.
Yeah, you have 3 trainers, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm watching what I eat.
A lot of effort.
Yeah. Are you watching what you eat?
Watching way too much. Yeah.
You're on a what's that joke?
The seafood diet. Yeah.
See it, you eat it.
It's organic. It's healthy.
So I'm eating a lot of vegetables. What do you think the healthiest part of a vegetable is?
The green part?
No, the wheelchair. And see, you don't laugh like I don't laugh.
No, because
You can't laugh at your own joke?
No, because you blew it.
Oh, what is the joke?
It's what's the only part of the vegetable you can't eat, and it's the wheelchair. But you said what's the healthiest part of the vegetable, and it's the wheelchair.
I blew it.
You'll get better.
Hey, it's not. That's not a.
My 8-week course will get you setting up and telling. The setup was great.
See, even when I try to do it, I can't do it. It's funny, but it is all in the setup.
Yeah, because you want to drive them. You want to drive them all the way over to the left.
Now we have here in the library our first event coming up this week.
Very
right?
soon. Yes, this week. Days away.
We have a big decision to make.
I would think we have a couple.
No, one big one. Only one big one.
Yeah, I know the one that you're the most concerned about, and I think that I don't take that lightly.
What is the one that I'm concerned about?
Well, I think that it's about what you would do indoors in the library, right?
So we're having our quarterly coaching meeting here. So also the elite group is coming here. We have
That's
a
right.
pretty crazy thing planned for them also. But we're going to have a tequila tasting in here on one of the nights. And the question is, during the tequila tasting, if we should smoke cigars. Having that many people in here smoking cigars, I don't know. It would be a great way to test out this fancy evacuation system we have for smoking cigars. It never got too much in our old place, right? This system's way bigger than that.
No, but I could walk into the red office and I could tell when you'd been smoking the night before. So
Well, I kind of want that in here a little. I want it to smell a little because we've got the leather wall. We want a little tobacco.
yeah, my worry is for the inventory.
Yeah, the books.
Yeah. And I'm not trying to be a Debbie Downer. It's just something that pops into my head. But if those,
So that's the decision we have to make.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll let you know how that.
but that, whatever that air sucker outer thing is, that sounds like it's the real deal. Like when it was on earlier today, that's an industrial strength cigar smoke remover.
It's almost too strong because
Yeah.
it takes all the air conditioning out.
Right. we were air conditioning Los Angeles today.
There was an interesting thing the other day. So I think we're going on a week now, but Berkshire Hathaway did their quarterly kind of, or is it quarterly or annually? Maybe it's annual stock shareholder meeting.
Yeah, and the amazing thing about that is that Buffett was up on that stage with some guy that looked twice as old as he is. Did you see that feller? Those right next to him? Charles or something like that. He's very high up in the company, but like that guy looked old. Like Moses old.
You wouldn't call him high up. You would call him a partner.
Yes.
Yeah. Have you ever read his book?
No.
He's got a great book.
I couldn't stop staring at him.
He maybe is the brains behind the whole thing.
Oh, that wouldn't surprise me. He spoke quite eloquently. But continue on.
Back when I was a lot attendant, so we're going back many, many years, there was a technician in our Volkswagen shop. He was a younger kid, and I don't know, we were talking about stuff. I was in a band, and somehow it came up that he had inherited Berkshire Hathaway stock, and then he was explaining it to me. And back then, I think it was like 50,000 a share or something crazy.
Whoa, okay.
But if you imagine, I think he had 10 shares or something.
So $500,000 then.
If you can imagine whatever that has done since then, it's crazy.
He doesn't have to work.
But they own, so Berkshire Hathaway, Warren Buffett owns the Van Tuyl Group. So he bought the Van Tuyl Group. I would speculate that they bought it more for the warranties, right? Because they're really their specialty and how they've expanded is insurance.
Yeah.
But they're talking about that. So maybe kind of give everybody a little bit of insight into their feelings about the dealership business, because I had a lot to say.
Yeah. So the thing I thought that was really interesting about what Warren said about it is he's like, and I'm an interested party in the dealership model. He's like, this affects me. And the scariest thing to him, he's like, I know what's going to happen to Apple in 5 to 10 years, but I can't tell you in 5 to 10 years what the dealership world's going to be like, and I'm a part of it. Whereas he's always been kind of known as being the prognosticator of business, and he makes some really good forecasts and everything like that. But he literally, the guy that arguably...
Doesn't he say too, like it's a high investment, low return or something?
Yes. So he was, I mean, if you read between the lines, it was like, it's not the best thing to get into right now.
Yeah, and so I want everybody to really pay attention to what I'm about to say next, because I think this is a turn in the industry that's going to happen that we've talked about for quite a while, but nobody really acknowledges it yet. But it's going to become very, very prominent in the sense of Charlie Munger and Warren Buffett both think of the dealership business in terms of what? Like, how do they measure the dealership business?
For someone like that, a company, I would guess earnings per share.
No. So we're just talking about the business on its own on the side, the financials.
Oh, sales.
Yeah. So they're going to be like most car dealers out there. Right. When they wake up in the morning, the first thing they think about is how many vehicles have gone over the curb, right?
Yep.
They don't understand the degree of money left on the table by fixed ops. Like if Charlie and Warren were really intimately involved in that business, they would be talking about how do we get more kids to be technicians. They would be talking about service. The one thing that I can say is if you're a person who's watching the news and hearing all these negative narratives about the car industry, when it comes to fixed ops, and this includes parts and body shops, we're not going anywhere for a long time. These cars are still on the road. It doesn't matter if tomorrow 1 million new electric cars sold and we didn't have combustion,
Yeah, like if they turn the faucet off tomorrow, it doesn't change service.
No.
I agree with that.
And so electric cars break as much as anything, right? And so when are we as an industry going to focus on the things that, really matter in the end, which is going to be the customer's feelings about the vehicle after the purchase?
That's right.
The retention, right?
Maintaining the love affair.
And I think Tesla got that from the very beginning, right? They didn't sit around and talk about, oh, you got to come to us or whatever. They invested widely in a network that they controlled that, when my Tesla breaks down, it's very easy. It's not that it doesn't break down. It's just way easier than when any of my other.
But literally you open the app and it does it all for you.
Yeah.
It is not very difficult to do service on a Tesla.
So it's just interesting that nobody's talking about fixed ops when fixed ops is the future. And if you were really thinking about this as a long-term thing, you would be investing in, getting kids out of high school, all kinds of other things to create a better business opportunity and leverage in the marketplace. Because he who has the technicians is going to win.
For sure. You can't hire enough, I don't think, at this point. Even if you had to pay a little more at this moment in time and weren't getting the return on it immediately, you would really quickly thereafter. So
that being said, what else is in the news? I kind of stole that from the news, didn't I?
Yeah, but I didn't have the.
Did you see that the one of our videos went up and it was titled "Christians Forced Sales Job" or something?
I did see that,
and they don't know how to spell Christian.
Yeah, there was
so they put Christian, but it's Christian. It can't be Christian.
It was 9 letters. That's a 17-letter name.
How would you spell Christian?
CHRISTIOOOOOON.
So it's like 11 letters?
Yeah. You know what has been in the news a lot lately is the artificial intelligence thing. And I've been doing some research on it, and I found actually, it's really good for us to understand consistencies and limits and everything like that. But do you know what the exact opposite of artificial intelligence is?
The wheelchair.
No. Close. So close. But it's natural stupidity. All right.
And I love that people are afraid that it's going to replace that. If you can be replaced by that, okay. I don't know. I'm not worried about it.
So
you can't replace this face.
No, not at all. And these amazing segues. But that leads us into our first bit of the news. Guess which state, this is actually not a joke, guess which state wants to pave its roads with radioactive material? You got a 1 in 50 chance. And I actually believe he's going to get this right, everyone at home. What state is going to pave its roads with radioactive material? I think since there's 50 states, you can have 3 guesses if you need them.
Can you give me a hint? I don't like that you're so confident. I have no clue.
All right. So just on paper.
Anything wacky? The first thing I think is California.
Okay. No, but good guess. It would never get past all the environmentalists in California.
So then is it North Dakota?
No. What makes you think North Dakota? I love that.
I don't know. They're just not Texas.
No. Okay. So this hasn't gone exactly how we thought it was going to. But what I thought was obvious, you don't, the state of Florida.
That's just do you notice that everything now is negative Florida because the Democrats don't want DeSantis to do good?
It's totally
every headline.
It's amazing.
It doesn't even make, a lot of the times the headline doesn't even match the article.
Yeah, it's true. I can tell you I spent a lot of time in Florida and I have a wonderful time, and it's too humid for you, but I actually really like being there, and it's a lot of
trade the humidity for the taxes we pay here.
Oh my gosh, that's the other big part. You get to keep it when you earn it down there, that's for sure. But state lawmakers have passed a bill which needs DeSantis' signature, instructing Florida Department of Transportation to use phosphogypsum as an aggregate material in road construction, radioactive material. But it's a waste product of the fertilizer industry, so they're trying to repurpose it, which actually kind of makes sense to me. But I mean, who doesn't want to glow in the dark at the end of the day? So yeah, Florida. Chris's fourth answer, Florida. And then this just, I put this one in here because I haven't heard, maybe I'm missing it, but
if you hear, it's okay, Kosh. If you hear noise in the background, there's construction going on in the kitchen.
Yes, they
enjoy it. You're a part of the process.
I cannot wait to see the before and after videos.
Oh yeah,
like the work that those guys have done. I mean, this is a masterpiece in itself. But
I can't wait to see the statue of Lincoln out there.
Yeah, even I really like. I think, did we name him yet? The Matador.
Yeah.
What's his name?
The Matador. You want him Chuck the Matador?
Yeah, there we go. We got Chuck in the corner.
In the story, he's the Matador. It's gotta be the Matador.
I'd like to name him, but it's okay.
No, he's the Minotaur. Matador.
Isn't that the bullfighter? God,
Minotaur.
you said it 3 times and I agreed with you too.
Jeez.
Then we can call him Pepe.
Call him whenever you want.
All right, so Pepe's in the corner, but so I just remember reading about this for a while. UAW's got a strike in an Ohio battery plant that gets batteries for a GM Ford. These are your regular low voltage batteries.
Did you see the thing on 60 Minutes about the lithium mine here in California, like down kind of by San Diego?
No.
That they can produce 3 times the amount of the world's supply or need of lithium a year.
Wow.
They have some sort of hot springs there, and whatever's in the ground is high in lithium, and it's coming up to power these electric plants. All they're doing is adding on another thing before it goes back into the ground. They're extracting it.
Oh, man.
And their cost is very low. So it's supposed to be like the new gold rush down there. All these companies are going down there trying to get in on it.
Oh, yeah, we'll suck lithium out of the world really quickly, I have the feeling.
Do we need it in the ground?
I don't
Does
know.
it serve a purpose?
I'm not so sure.
Okay, now this list that we're going to do, I'm excited about this. 10 reasons your customers leave you.
Which is, we've done this, it's been a minute since we did that, and I think that some of these things we have on there are very different than what we might have said a couple of years ago.
Now, they don't write a Dear John letter. There's not a sad country song that they send you. They're not sending you a mixtape. You just never hear from them again.
They just stop.
Poof.
They're like, okay.
Casper the Friendly Ghost, gone.
So we've got 10 reasons here. And I don't think, as I look at this list, I wouldn't say that they're necessarily in any type of specific order, although number one.
Do you love coming up with these lists?
I do.
It gives you a certain, it gives you a little evil.
I really get into like how I try to be creative with
your ideas, and you spend a lot of time on it, and you get a big smile.
I do. All right. So number 10 reason that your customers leave you is no parts, no call. So obviously everybody knows in the industry that there are certain manufacturers that have a tough time getting parts. But we're definitely taking that out on the customer at the end of the day. So I can't tell you how many times I'll see surveys coming back. I'll hear, service managers saying, hey, what do I do in this situation? But it's literally, we don't have parts, so we don't call them and tell them about ETAs and the parts because we don't know if we have anything. What's even worse than that is just as bad as the not having parts, not calling the customers, is a lot of dealerships I'll walk into, I'll go to the special order part bin and it's overrun. And they don't have a good system for calling the customers even when the parts get there. So it's just an attention to detail at the end.
You usually tell how a business is ran by their SOP shelf.
I would agree with that 100%. Yeah, if it's lean and mean, that's usually how the dealership is.
If there's something on there a year old.
Yeah, if it's dust, if it's
usually
dusty.
If there's one thing a year, there's a bunch of things that are a year usually.
That's right. So the next thing is this is number 9, and it's probably a little higher in the list than I put it. It popped into me noggin a little bit fast. But another reason that your customers are leaving you is that you're booked out 3 weeks because you don't have enough techs. And I always think about it like this. So when I'm explaining this to dealers, service managers, I'll say, okay, so let's role play this a little bit. So Chris, if you can be the customer and call me and say, hey, I'd like to set an appointment. So go ahead.
Can you say ring, ring?
Ring, ring. Hello. Thank you for calling Bulldog Motors. This is Christian.
Hey, my name is Chuck, and I would like to get my truck or car in for service.
Oh, perfect, Chuck. So I've got I hope Tuesdays are good for you because I have a Tuesday morning available in about 4 weeks. How's that sound?
Great.
Okay, perfect. I'm going to put you in there, Chuck, and you got a 2021 Silverado, right? Is that accurate?
Yeah.
Okay, great. I'll see you at 9 a.m. in 4 weeks. You'll get an email, I think. Bye.
You want to role play the next call I'm going to make?
Yeah. So I hang up. Now what happens?
I'm calling somewhere else.
Yeah. Immediately you're calling the next place. And even if they're only 2 weeks out, they win.
You can make a direct correlation between your no-show rate and how far out you're booked.
Yeah. And I would guess,
Nobody ever thinks of that, but it's like clear as day.
yeah. And then what ends up happening is that, the production goes to crap because you don't have coming in what you expect. And it's just a mess. It's a mess amongst messes. So if you're booked out, you don't need more appointments. You need more production in your shop. Just remember that.
Yeah, and just think about all the people you're losing by not having that production.
Yeah. Now, the next thing is, I think that it's not a bad thing for the industry necessarily, but it's been fairly poorly executed. What I've seen, and maybe this is an automotive thing. I don't know if you've noticed this since you got into the business, but like we don't replace like processes with process. We put process on top of processes. So it looks like a huge giant layer cake. And over the last, let's say 5 to 10 years, there's been some pretty cool technologies that have come into the business, but we're just putting it on top of all the other stuff. So I have a belief that a lot of advisors are suffering right now from technology overload, and the customers are getting lost in that mix. Right. So I think that the hands down, the easiest way to communicate with customers is via text. And the stores that do that really, really well, they enjoy great communication, great CSI stores. But then there'll be where the system's sending a text, the advisor's doing a phone call, the scheduler's sending an email, and it's just like all these mixed messages, and the customer's never receiving all of them. And on their side, it just looks like we don't know what we're doing. So the technology overload, and the manufacturers are requiring a lot of that stuff. I mean, everything from video inspections to, potting cars and doing the data drop like a key read on BMWs from a long time ago. But technology overload is another reason I believe that customers are leaving us. So the number 7 thing that I've got down here, and I've been preaching this for a while. I think you are a big fan of this too, but we're not setting the next appointment before the customer leaves.
Yeah, there's no plan.
And
Customers like plans. They like consistency.
yeah, so I've got
Especially when you're booked out 4 weeks.
especially when you're booked out 4 weeks. So I've got a midlife crisis car. It's a BMW convertible. I really, really like the thing. It's actually going in for service today, which was really easy. I'm going to kind of talk about that. But
I'm taking it to our buddies down here, right?
in Torrance. So I'm not doing it, but it's going down the street. And the thing that I would tell you, one, it was just as easy as the Tesla to make service appointment because I just did it through the app. And then the second thing is I bought that car on April 19th, and services due annually on that car. So on April 19th, that car started telling me every time I started it that I was overdue for service. Now I only had 7,900 miles on it when it started happening, but that car was not going to let me forget. So if the car knows when service is due, the dealership can know when service is due. So I'm just curious to see what happens if they set my next appointment. I should have some sort of a thing saying, I've got your next appointment set up for whatever 12 months from today is. Because
Yeah, you want to bet money that they don't?
I don't, because I don't think they will either, but I hope that they do. But it's a good opportunity to capture the next appointment. They don't have to worry about calling in and waiting because they wouldn't perceive a 4-week wait if they've already got the slot. So you're kind of jumping over that 4-week book out thing. So that's number 7. I think number 6 is understanding the threat that from the dealership side, the understanding the threat that the independent shops can be, because the only way they get customers is by marketing. And I think that we're just trying to make sure that we can handle what's coming off of the faucet.
We take it for granted that we get it from the sales department.
That's right. We just wait for more signals.
Has to market. They have to be good at marketing because their business is service. They're not in a bigger thing, right?
Yeah, and I think because of that, they're more effective. They get in front of the consumer, and I think we have to.
A lot of times, like let's say there's because we do stuff in heavy truck. Like let's say there's a school that buys a bunch of school buses, and then that school has their own technicians, right?
That's right.
That's kind of how service departments are in a sense. Is they think about the cars that they're selling as the captive audience, but they don't think about the market as a captive audience. So you're specific to a brand usually, but you could be any makes, any models, right? And
Yeah, you have to mean it.
even if you're just that brand, there's more of those in your market than you're servicing.
That's right. Yeah, you couldn't keep up with everything that's in your market.
Yeah.
That's great. Good
But if
point.
you booked out 4 weeks, why market?
No, yeah, I wouldn't. It would just be making it worse.
Number 5.
I'm really proud of this one just because of the name. I call this Wishy-Washy Willie. You like all that alliteration? So this is the
Reminds me of my grandma.
This is the advisor that tells customers about the stuff that they need and then like kind of pull it back right away. But like, if you want to, maybe you should. Like these presentations of, like a car's 7 years old and it's got 200,000 miles on it. We're like, you might want to get a coolant service. Like where they're just really not defined about what needs to be done on a car. And then it leaves the dealership. They don't do any of the work. Then it breaks. They take it to the next closest place. And then that next closest place tells them the truth. And you lose the customer that way because it's like, wait a minute, you've been servicing your vehicle for 6 years over at ABC Motors and they never once told you about this. You'll never know it. They just won't come
Who's
back.
the expert?
Yeah.
Why would the customer have any say in it whatsoever? Like if they're due for it and it's legit, you gotta tell them what it is. I like the departments that do the good, better, best, and it's like, okay, well, we have an oil change, but it doesn't include the filter, and then one includes the filter, and then the third one's like, and the customer to some degree when you're doing good, better, best is like, why don't you just tell me what I've seen is you can eliminate the good and the better and just go with the best, and they'll do it because you're making friends with them, petting the dog, and they'll just do what you say.
And you just tell them this is the best possible thing for your car, just giving them the best.
This is what you should do.
Yeah, I really like that point about with any kind of preventative maintenance or any maintenance on the car in general, is that why would we let the customer try to figure out what's best in something they know nothing about? That's really, really good.
Number 4
is dealerships are still taking the express train to nowhere. So those stores that you go into that have the express service, but express really means that your car will be done in 7 calendar years, that kind of thing, when you're getting service done. I might be exaggerating a little bit, but yeah, having the whole advertisement that we have express service, but at the end of the day, it's no faster than not having an express service. We don't have a game plan for it, but what we do instead
It's also first come, first serve, so there's a line.
Yeah.
And it just looks like chaos.
Yeah. Well, don't get into number 3. Careful. But
Number 3 is chaos.
So, but if you're gonna do the express thing, I mean, there's so much to it. One is that I think that the belief is that the customer wants to get in and out as fast as humanly possible, and that's why we came up with the express. And we've got to get everybody out in 30 minutes. Blah 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 blah. I really truly believe that when customers say that I want to get in and out as fast as possible, what they want to do is value the time that they're spending. If they're building a relationship with us and having an experience and getting things done on their vehicle that will help it to not break down further on down the road, the actual time of the service doesn't matter. It's the value in exchange for the time.
100%.
So I think that's where there's that little misguided thing about Express. We're down to number 3. And this, I call this the thrive in chaos lie. I've heard a lot of people say, well, we all thrive in chaos. We know exactly what we're doing. It might look like we don't know what we're doing, but everyone's running around like a chicken with their head cut off. And the only thing I say is that's a complete lie, because that customer does not thrive in our chaos. What they do is they come in really freshly from the outside and they observe it.
They want to avoid it.
They don't want to
do a lot of things to avoid chaos in their life.
Yeah. So it's really, really important that that's not the message we're sending the customer, that when they come into us, they're coming into chaos. It needs to be organized and super intentional. Never leave as little to chance as humanly possible. And then we got number 2. I think this is really important. I don't know that we've adjusted to the way that the cars are being built, is that it's really down to 1 at bat per year on a lot of models. So you get 1 chance to really impress somebody. So that kind of takes me back to the time thing, because if I'm only going to get my car serviced once a year, I want to get everything done that it needs to get done. And I wouldn't really care as much about the time if I'm only doing it once, but make me feel like there's a lot of value for that. So having a game plan and everybody gets a red carpet treatment. If you're coming in once a year, it's got to be a big deal. And then the last thing, or what I would call number one, which I do think is probably the reason that people are defecting or leaving your service departments the most, is that we're making transactions and not friends, because kind of like we were talking about with the Buffett thing, is that dealerships in a lot of cases still see service as that necessary evil.
Yeah, and so they treat people like cattle or numbers, and there's no real personal connection. There's no relationship.
That's right.
And then if there's no relationship, there's no trust. And if there's no trust, you have no equity.
Yeah, and there's no value for the time, because it's like, I don't know what I'm doing here. I just want to go.
You also have no control, right? Because if you don't have trust, you can't say, hey, do this.
Mm-hmm. That's good. So yeah, so just get back to those, just make friends.
Yeah.
Yep.
Great stuff. Good list. Well, thanks everybody for everybody in coaching and you elite members. I can't wait to see you later this week.
You're in for a treat.
Yeah, here to have a good time. I'll figure out the cigar thing.
Yeah, but it's a magical place here, so I'm excited to share this with our clients.
And we'll see you everybody next time on Service Drive Revolution.
Thanks so much for watching this episode of Service Drive Revolution. We're uploading new stuff every day, so make sure you subscribe and click the bell icon so you don't miss out. If you have a question you'd like us to answer on the show, call 8333-ASK-SDR and we'll answer your question on the show. That's 8333-ASK-SDR. For special deals on our books and training, head over to offers.chriscollinsinc.com. Now that's offers.chriscollinsinc.com. I'm Chris Collins, and I'll see you in the next video.